Willie, take it.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
We are live with CFC on the air with WPAT radio with Willie Saunders.
Oh, nothing happened with mine. I don't know what happened. Praise God.
I made a mistake in here. Oh boy, I made a mistake and hit don't.
Hello, Renee. We're on the air. Willie, so we are on the air with the Christian Fellowship Council Worldwide on WPAT. 9:30 on your radio dial. So we're here with Willie Saunders and
Video. Put your video on.
I'm trying to get it. I don't have it yet. I made a mistake and hit no video a minute ago.
Put his video on.
I'm trying to
Put his video.
I'm trying to, but just let me come in a little later till I get it right. Don't bring me in while I'm scrambling. Am I missing something? I made a mistake and hit no video. So you can.
Where's your phone number?
347. Where's that phone number? 347. None of the, where's my phone number?
Your phone, so we see your face. Yes.
Willie, we're live.
Oh, yes. All right. All right. It's a great awakening. Oh, God bless you. I am so happy to be here. Listen, I want you to call 2, 3 people. Let them know the Christian Fellowship Council is on the air, providing great inspirational songs of praise, up-to-date community information. I'm Brother Willie Saunders, and I'll be bringing it to you live. Listen, I've got some great guests for you today. We got a great, interesting subject. And so we just want to let you know, listen, I'm in the studio today. And if there's anybody that would like to call in, the telephone number here at the studio is area code 212-219-9695. Again, that's 212-219-9695. That's if you want to call in and be a part of this discussion. So we thank you all for tuning in with us live. You'll be able to, if you miss it and you want to play this again, you'll be able to go to YouTube tonight and you can pull it up and watch it. And we want to give Gary a big thanks for putting us on and doing all the technical work and making this happen. So again, thanks so much, Gary.
Willie,
we're gonna head up for a few issues. We want to thank our brother Bernard. Brother Bernard, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell our listening audience and viewing audience who you are and what you do.
Hey, my name is Brother Bernard Seabrook. I am a builder. I am a man of God, first and foremost. I apologize. I should have said that in the correct order. But a builder, an engineer, the vice president of the Marcus Garvey Foundation of Negro Black Men. I'm also a retired vet. I'm also doing a lot of great things for our youth today. because we need our youth to do a little bit better in their structures of growth. I reach out to different organizations of men of color to help the inner cities and the communities. I have a lot of time invested in building skyscrapers in New York City, Buffalo, DC, Virginia, Texas, all of the above. And of course, the pleasure of working with Brother Saunders himself. So that's a little bit about myself.
Wow. God bless you. God bless you so much, my brother. Listen, I have one of the most beautiful women in the world here in the studio with me. That's why I'm so happy. And that's why I'm here today. We have none other than Lady Love herself, which is none other than my wife, Corinthian. God bless you, sweetheart. Why don't you introduce yourself? I just did, but you introduce yourself and tell the people what you do.
Hi, my name is Willie Saunders, formerly known as Lady Love. I'm a singer, I'm a mother, and first of all, I'm a child of God. And since it's Women's National Day, we'd like to send blessings to all our beautiful women out there today. God bless you.
Well, praise God, praise God. I'm telling you, I'm just excited to have my wife here. Believe it or not, we are here in New York. And we have someone else. I'm trying to get his video on so I can get it going, but hopefully his mic is working. We have a giant here with us today, another giant, none other than our brother, J.C. Joseph. God bless you, Brother Joseph. Can you introduce yourself to our listening audience and our watching audience and just let them know who you are and what you do?
Well, give praise. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
okay, now I can hear the mic up. It's an honor to be here. I'm Brother J.C. Joseph, and I've been a broadcaster for many, many decades. And we focus on programming that's enriching, that's empowering, and we are centered in the spirit of gospel music. I come from a legacy of great gospel broadcasters. One particular one, Brother Jonathan Joe Crane. I always give him a holler out when I talk about gospel. And one of the things that we're doing is we're focusing on some of the social issues of the day, and family preservation is one of the key issues that we focus on. And we believe that one of the main tenets of family preservation that is too often ignored is the role of fatherhood and the role that fathers play in the process, and the suffering that happens when fathers are taken out of the picture or marginalized on the sidetrack in terms of what we need to do. So I'm a father of 3 children. I've been through many challenges myself. So I'm committed to sharing whatever information that can make a difference and would serve the empowerment of fathers in our community, as we've done here in New York and New Orleans and the Lower Ninth Ward and those places we have been. We are committed to the cause, and we believe that the faith-based community through the gospel is one of the vehicles, one of the avenues that we can hopefully penetrate and make change.
Wow, God bless you. Man, you said a lot. And, I got to tell you, we've been working with a lot of the young youth, a lot of the young men that are returning home from the prisons. We've been getting places for them, getting jobs for them, getting places for them to live. We want to give a big shout out to Dr. Connor, which has went in his own pocket. And when I say has spent millions, I know he spent it because I was there. I've been in negotiating some of the deals with the housing. I've went out and bought bedding for young men. I've taken them and gotten their toiletries and things that they need. I've went to some of the yard sales, some of the places where you can get used furniture, and bought beds and furniture and things for them, refrigerators for their property, for the houses that we was able to get for them once we got the landlord to accept young men, because that's a challenge for us. But today we want to speak about some of the things. I think we were talking about at first we were talking about was reparations needed, still needed in the Black community. And so, brother, let me hear you, brother Bernard. What is your take on that and some of the things that you're finding is happening in the Black community? Because I had a privileged opportunity to go down to Atlanta and spend, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks with Brother Bernard. And as we were headed there, as we got to the area, that was when the young men was running for the governorship, or was it the senator that was running? They were running for that. But when we got there, we got some terrible news. And this is around Black communities all throughout the country. And so it's got to be some things that we can do to change this ourselves. We can't wait for the police. We can't wait for the governor. So again, Brother Bernard, what is your take on it?
Well, as you know, the most important thing for our communities and our leadership as a father, as a grandfather, and most of all, as a Black man, we need to empower our youth with the knowledge and the wisdom of understanding. A lot of it should be a spiritual base. It has to be the growth of understanding one to another, because we are not looking at our children for their greatness. We're looking at our children for representation of quote unquote hoods and fashion and rapping and
hit your video so people can see.
Athletes.
Okay.
You know, we need our children to see more of their educational system, of what they need to go fundamentally. A spiritual base to give them some kind of guidance other than just the critical foundations of education. Sometimes education is the greatest key, but spirituality is the greatest gift. Now, if you can give a child some notion of a spiritual being to place inside of them, to harness that, they can overcome a lot of obstacles from themselves from that situation. I'm gonna use myself as an example. So growing up in the South Bronx of New York City in the 60s and the 70s, from having a spiritual background, it gave me enough confidence in myself to attack my educational contents and move forward to a greater level of life. Now, you don't get that from just any kind of way. You get it from a village of people trying to show and teach you. You get it from Black men who has been through hardships before you. You get it through song and praise, worship. You get it through fundamentally churches. Churches today are open, but they're not subjecting themselves to giving the proper tools that these young people need. We're lacking that because we're not, in my opinion, I think the elders are a little bit afraid of these young people because of the way they behave and the comments that comes out of their mouth. So we can't give them anything because we're afraid to reach out to them. In today's society, you say certain things, you're getting arrested for just speaking to a person, or you saying something to the wrong group of people, or you got a lot of obstacles in it. So there's a lot of pitfalls and blocks that keep us from gravitating to higher expectations. But it does take us as brothers and sisters, elders, to show and lead the way. So with those things that I'm saying, I just need us to collectively come together, not just the church, but also our foundations of work ethics, our foundation of parenting. These are things, that life skills that these young people are lacking. That's why they're not getting the proper guidance.
Turn straight. Well, go ahead. God bless. Well, I'm just excited about what you're talking about, because until we start speaking about it, then it's I'm not saying it's not taken seriously. It's just the fact that we have to come together and really get something in order that we can some type of playbook or some type of program that we can put in place that can work in the inner cities of our states. So Brother Joseph, he's been very instrumental in working with the adoptions of young kids and fathers. He's got something, I was just reading it, some of the work he's done, which says, save a father, save a child. Tell us a little bit about that, Brother Joseph.
Well, firstly, there are so many issues. If you can hear me on the mic, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear.
There are so many issues that I believe African American men, Black fathers, and Black men, period, but particularly Black fathers have to deal with. Firstly, there's a general attitude of disrespect when there's a crisis for the role that Black fathers play. It's always assumed that, too often assumed that they are just biologically father and a child, but they are not having the serious commitment, the sustainable commitment that it takes to raise a child. We are all in a crisis. Most Black fathers, we have children. Some children you are very close to, that you are raised and you cuddled and not let them out of your grasp. Many other fathers are dealing with children who they're estranged, they were not close to. They are still trying to heal with. Many fathers are dealing with situations when they have not developed a relationship with the mother, that they're in the court system. And that's one area that has been terribly neglected in terms of the struggles that men go through. There's serious issues facing custody. There's serious issues facing support. There's serious issues facing visitation. These are issues, these are things that break up the family. When I say save a father, save a child, I have been around this issue for over 30 years, know what the court system is like, stood with fathers, stood there for myself. So I have shrapnel in me from my own experiences. So nobody is perfect, and many fathers are going through this crisis right now. So it's so important to just recognize that there are diverse issues, particularly when it comes to keeping families together. When I say save a father, save a child, about 10 years ago, a great bishop here in New York, Bishop Milton Rochford, the Rochford brothers are well known. I believe he's the law enforcement officer for Nassau County now. Mm-hmm. He asked me to come be the keynote speaker at the Arthur Kill Correctional Facility, which is a jail here in Staten Island. I think they've since moved. It was 800 men. And I was honored to be the keynote speaker on Dr. King's Day. And they asked me, and I asked 800 guys, how many of you have children? And 750 raised their hand. So there's a serious issue with our children on the street, with young men on the street, 13 years old, walking around pointing guns at people. You know, our young daughters, we have lost everybody. It is a challenge to just maintain that. So all I'm saying, but without getting too sermonizing here, is that there are many issues that is facing Black men who are trying to be fathers. People assume that when things are not right, that there's a lack of interest in fatherhood. The whole stereotypical thing of fathers are just fathering babies and walking away or something, like they don't care. Nothing hurts a Black man more than to see his son or his daughter being raised by somebody else and that they have no control over, or worst of all, when they deal with a lot of the child care agencies. This is a monstrous, this is the elephant in the room that we often neglect, the role that agency plays in sometimes discouraging many Black fathers from continuing and being a father and doing the things that are direly necessary. So there's so many issues, you know, that's affecting. When I did the speech at Arthur Kill, I said, if all of you 800 men sitting there, I said, y'all can teach me something if you've been sitting in this cage all this time. And yet they had fatherhood classes, men trying to be fathers. So there's so many issues. When you talk about fathers and their sons, there's also fathers and their daughters. I had to raise two daughters almost personally for years. So I know how important it is. The relationship a daughter has with their father is sacred, and very empowering. So there's many issues to be talked about here.
Well,
And let me just conclude by just saying that when I see other fathers groups who are making an effort, it's not just only about further empowering fathers. I did a class of fathers empowerment for a long time, but it's also fathers empowerment classes is helping fathers learn stuff, hopefully that they don't know, so that they can become better fathers. But we also have to deal with forces that are at work to diminish the efforts that good Black men are struggling to do. But some Black men are working 2 jobs and walking around the clock, and they're single fathers that that you haven't even heard of single fathers working 2 jobs. It's like somebody from another planet almost.
well, working 2 jobs. Let me just jump in
Yeah,
here.
no, I'm finished
that,
for the moment. Yeah.
that's something that I think if you're in the inner city, you're working 2, 3 jobs. But let me introduce another giant that we have here that's with us, that I'm sure he has some comments on the subject, Black fathers and their sons. But again, the question that I want to pose to him is, do you think that the Blacks should receive or do need reparations?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, Bishop Jacobs, please introduce yourself. I don't know if something is low, very low. I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Bishop.
Good afternoon, everyone, and to our host, Brother Saunders, and to all of you. God bless. I am Bishop Jacobs, and I'm pastor and bishop of the Universal Church of Christ, located in Jersey Greater Temple, our headquarters church. The past years going on 51 and 8, and I'll be celebrating my 80th birthday. Raised 5 children as a single parent, and also and so many others. So I've had experience and also on several boards. In fact, we did a lot of prison work as well and community work. But I think I would state that, yes, unequivocally, we deserve reparations. Anytime anyone there was no agreement for us to come here and to work without being paid. We were dragged here, hollering, screaming, and work in 1619 and worked hundreds of years without any pay, any kind of benefit or anything. We were slaves. So why should we get paid for what we've done? And it's not that hard. Today's technology can easily.
We're losing you, Bishop. We're hearing every other word.
I don't know what. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just believe that anyone has any color, we can trace who we are and our whatever our genealogy is, and we deserve to be paid. The technology can figure that out. If you can figure out DNA, you can figure out who we are. And why shouldn't we get paid? There's no one that would tolerate not working and not being paid. So we built this country. This country is built upon, its economy was built upon, the North and the South were benefactors of the slave labor. And even after the Declaration, after the Emancipation Proclamation was given, people were still held. We were put back. No, we deserve reparations. We just need to figure out how to get paid. I don't care if it's $20 trillion. They took it on time, then pay it back on time.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Bishop. I concur with you. Brother Bernard, how do you feel about reparations back for Blacks?
As a Native American, because I am Native American, reparation is a very complex thing for people of color, of us indigenous people. Mainly because they have the resources and the funds for these things set aside the same way they have it for Jewish peoples for the Holocaust. People from Ghana, Libya, all of these different places on the planet, Chinese, Japanese, they give to every other nationality but people of color. Why do they do this? They do this to keep us in a box. There's so much land out here that there should be no reason for one man to own 500 million acres and so forth. I'm just keeping it real simple. I mean, when you look at the scope of it, as long as I can keep you in control, then things they can't let get out of control. But as long as Black men are being taken away from their families and incarcerated or executed or ridiculed, you to gentrify a group of people and stereotype them to be savages and things of that character, you don't see them getting any reparations, because as long as they can villainize us or make us seem like we are not educated enough or worthy enough to receive our benefits, they're going to keep deceiving us. They're going to keep changing the law every time. Every time it gets a little closer, they'll change the law another word. They'll put in another paragraph. They'll give us a different way of what we as a people cannot see justice. We cannot see reparations. We cannot see land. I mean, 40 acres and a mule ain't nothing. You know, like, come on. What is 40 acres and a mule? That ain't gonna help your family. But as long as you can keep me in a cage to work for free labor now, you got all these Black young men in jail that you sending them to build signs for the highways and mattresses for that guy on TV, my bed. You know, these things are factory working as slaves, man. And we don't see that. We don't get to know the truth of it. We only get a partial of it. They're not telling you and exposing to what we really rightfully deserve. But until the day brothers like ourselves keep speaking, keep teaching, keep preaching, you know, one day it might change. That's how I see it, Brother Saunders.
Wow. Oh, wow. We thank you so much. Listen, I'm excited about about this subject, because you have a lot of Blacks and people that don't want to talk about the subject, and they say, as our Honorable Thomas, Justice Thomas said, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And that's easy to say, but when you look at the conditions of our communities and what was done by the government to our communities, then you just can't say pull yourself up by your own. It's like people put poison in your neighborhood, and when you start dying from it, they say, oh, why are you dying? But listen, we have a beautiful woman here with us. I want to get her take on raising boys, because that's what we seem to be having problem with, our young men that are coming up. And like you said, the fathers are not there for one reason or the other, whatever there is. And our women has to have, in a lot of cases, has had to be our backbone. They've had to raise, they had to be the mother and the dad. And, so let's just hear it from a woman who has raised 8 boys. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lady Love, my wife. God bless you, sweetie.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say I thank God for all our men. And I want to thank God for my father, because if I didn't have a father, a strong father like the father that I have, Sam Burgess, I wouldn't be the wife and the mother that I am today. My father was so strong. And, I used to look at my father, it's like, wow, when I get married, I hope I find a man like my father. And I found a man like my father, similar to my father. And so a lot of women, they look at their father and they say, you know what? I need to find a man like my father, if he about anything.
Oh my God.
Now, I'm not talking about somebody sitting by the roadside. I'm talking about somebody that got something.
Oh my God.
And love me. And so, and with my boys, well, I don't play. They call me the #1 gang member in the house. So with my boys, I really took time with them and I showed them love. A mother really has to love her children, especially her boys, because when boys are loved correctly, they will love women correctly. So as I was growing up and my children was growing up with me, I had to set example for them. Okay, sometimes me and my sons, we would get into it and they would say, well, I would rather fight mommy than I would rather fight daddy than mommy, because mommy was the #1 gang member. So as I'm just, when I say gang member, I'm just saying that, I didn't play. I love the Lord. I love my husband. I love my family, but just some things that you just can't stand for. So, but with my boys, I am so thankful that they all are men of God and they love their wives and their girlfriends and they treat them really good. And when they think about it, they say, you know what? If I didn't have my father and my mother, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. But I just want to say this. Right now, we all in trouble. We need to step back and pull together and bring our people together, because our young men and young ladies, they really need us. Don't look down on nobody because no one's perfect, but just show love to somebody, because you never know what somebody's going through. And with every man out there that's going through women problems, you know what? Just think about love, patience, and understanding. And God, and pray first, because God will send you that wife that you need. And is that a good enough answer, sweetie?
Yeah. She talk about love, and I'm telling you, I am blessed. I am blessed. I think the way Bishop Jiggets put it, blessed beyond measure. When God gave me my wife, I tell you, if you wait on him, he'll give you what you need. He knew exactly who and what I needed. And I just thank God. Now, she's raised 8 boys. And I used to come home sometime. And, this is why it's so important for a father to be in the house. For 2 reasons. But it's so important to be able to be example, because they're watching everything you do. They're looking at it. They're mimicking it. They're trying to be you while they're growing up. And if you doing any kind of way, living any kind of way, doing and treat your wife, slapping and all this here, then that's what they think is supposed to be done because daddy did it. But if you're loving your wife and right now, when I get ready to leave out the house, any one of my kids that are there, daddy, wait a minute, you forgot something. What did I forget? I gotta go. You forgot my hug. I mean, they coming up, my daughters, my sons, they all run up because we teach them love. And even some of the strangers, some of the neighbors that has had to live with us, some of the young men that have situations, we had taught guys out of young men that killing themselves. And to be very honest, we've lost a few. So this is why it takes us to come together and really deal and help our young people. We have young people living with us right now, and we are helping, making sure that they are okay, making sure they got food, make sure they got clothes, making sure they have health insurance, taking them to the doctors, going and picking them up, because we care. And that little bit that you can do, you think is a little bit, but that's help. That's helping people. That's helping in your neighborhood. And when you help people, you helping yourself. Listen, I don't want to just talk, but Bishop Jiggets, please give us your take on the young men, the mothers, and what's going on in our communities.
Well, I enjoyed hearing my speak.
Thank you.
And that is so important because you rounded out and was about.
Okay. We're hearing every other word, Bishop.
Such a difference. And I'm sorry, I keep putting on this mobile device. It makes such a difference when there is that love that is there. My challenge with men that we have dealt with, today, my son, let me give you an example. My son asked me, well, Dad, can I take some food from the food pantry to some friends of mine? I said, oh, sure, help yourself. We have plenty of food. So he said, I said, are they sick? What's going on? I knew some of the fellas, and he said, no, there's nothing wrong. I said, well, there's a church down the street. There's a school down the other block. Why don't they go down and get it? I said, and then all along the other main street, I'm not going to name it, there are plenty of pantries open. So why should you take food from other people and cart it down there, and they're too lazy to go around the corner 2 blocks away, literally 2 blocks away, and get food if they're hungry? I said, sometimes the initiative and self-motivation is missing in our young men, and you're sitting back for others to do. I'm sure you raised those boys to be self-motivated and to be responsible for themselves. Sometimes we can try to help people so much we become enablers to their disaster. And I think that's important. There's a time you have to cut us loose so that we'll grow and be responsible. My grandmother said, every tub sit on its own bottom. Sometimes we have to get to that point where they have to bump. All 3 of my sons, I put out the house. When they disrespect me and they get in my face, I either got my back or I locked it. When they went out the door, I locked the door. I don't care what the temperature was, because you can't disrespect me. You have to teach your children respect, not only for you, but for other leaders in the community, adults, and etc. That's absolutely necessary. Another thing that's going on, I think boys are falling behind in education. There's been a leveling out of the opportunity, equal opportunity for women, while the opposite is true for men. I think that they're falling behind and not keeping up in the educational system. I don't care. I don't think we should just talk about the academics, but young men need to have skills so that, because a lot of people make a lot of money who have never had a college education. But as long as they, whatever you work for, whatever you do, you have some skills and certification, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I think that's what's happening. We're falling behind. Even boys, because boys mature slower than girls. I think Sister Saunders could, that they just, men just do that. They're 25, 26, girls are 20, they all do it. When I was in year of Jurassic Park, there were, in a college classroom, there would be 40 people, and out of there would be 5 girls. Today, if you go to a college classroom, you'll find that 70%, 60 to 70% of the students are women, whereas the men, and African-American men, it's even a smaller amount.
Can I just say something on that note, if you don't mind?
Sure.
It's easy for us to project that Black men don't want an education or don't have it, but it's not statistically right, because statistically right, our Black men are being targeted. They are targeted for failure. They do not want them to have a position of family, so that this way it continues to gain control. Do you know, I was raised by a Black woman. I had no father in my household, and we all are successful. It didn't come because I didn't have a father. It became because I chose to do better for myself, knowing that I did not want to ever be like my father. Now, my father was a great man, but he wasn't a dad in my household like Brother Saunders was. But this is one thing that I could say to that, Bishop. You say you changed the lock, or you put them out, or you taught them how to fly because of the disrespect. They didn't disrespect you. They disrespected themselves.
But it was to me.
No. I didn't say they disrespected you. They disrespected themselves. When
Yeah,
you disrespect yourself, and then you come down to presenting yourself to someone else, you don't only hurt them, but you detrimentally kill your spirit or your blessings that God has put before you, because you are not paying attention to somebody who's giving you good order and direction. Now, here's what I really wanted to touch on as what you said. And the reason why I'm saying this, Black men are being targeted. They are not allowing Black men to pursue happiness. They don't want you to be educated. They do not want you to be prosperous. They don't want you in a household raising your children. They do not want you to be in a way to give back productivity. If I can keep you in bondage, lock you up, kill you, keep you from being educated, that is a way to keep control. Systemically, society has made it virtually impossible for a Black man to get to. He can't even walk to the store without being frisked by a police officer, stopped for his pants hanging down, judged by the color of his skin, ridiculed by the tattoos on his body. See, those are systemic things society has put in play so that it keeps us from growing. So all Black men don't want this. Some, like myself, I'm going to use myself, for example. I chose to do better. I chose. There are brothers that really choose to do better, but we can't get better as long as we got people in society making us feel that we are not worthy.
Yes. I definitely agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I with everything you said, I think that maybe what I'm trying to say, and maybe you misunderstood me.
Yeah, your video is gone, Bishop.
Beg your pardon.
Your video. There you are.
I'm sorry. My battery is getting low, trying to hook it up to another charger so I don't disappear altogether. I'm sorry. Choice is very important, and I agree 100%. But the power of choice, you also have to be taught how to make good decisions. And when we make poor decisions, we receive the consequence of those decisions. If a child disrespects me, I'm feeding them, I'm working, I'm a single parent, I'm trying to feed everybody, keep the roof over your head, I'm not misusing you, abusing you, I've raised you the right way, education, and you're going to get in my face or tell me that? Yes, you disrespected yourself, but you disrespected me. And I say the buck stops here, the line is drawn. The fathers have a distinct responsibility to be protectors. They're also set boundaries, and that I set boundaries. So I don't disagree with you, but we see a whole prison full of young men who have made poor choices. And we have to understand that for every choice we make, there are consequences to that choice. So we want to do that. I agree with what you said, that society or the systemic racism that is there, but we can't settle for that. The fight must go on. I'm saying about education, I'm talking about the disparities in education that we have all through with men, and especially African-American men. So we want to encourage them to be educated, whether it's in academics or STEM or for skills. It doesn't matter, so that they can be self-supported, independent, and also support their families. I agree with 100%. You're telling me about what the condition is. I'm talking about how do we change that? How do we transform ourselves? How do we become better? Our forefathers did that with less than what we have. So what we need to do is talk about some of the problems and how we can begin to change ourselves and our environment.
I totally agree with you, Bishop. But you know, the thing is, our system is set up to keep the young men returning back to prison, and that is set up because there's a money thing there. There's a money grab there, and what got me very upset, and you know, I'm very passionate about our children, and I had a chance to visit prisons and, you know, sit down and talk to the young men that are at the point of getting released. Some was getting released, and sometimes we just men that was been there for years and had years to go, and to just talk with them and everyone has made a mistake. They've stepped over the line somewhere, and that's what landed them there. But here's what our prison systems are doing to our young men. They call it today's slavery. They are taking our young men, and some of the name brands that you're probably wearing right now, your Nikes, your Marriott, some of the hotels, some of the places that you are doing business with, they're taking our young men out of the prison, working them for 90 cents a day, or I think it's 90 cents a day from what I'm hearing, is 90 cents a day. And they are getting slave labor. These company owners are talking about how profitable it is. They have somebody that's not going to be out sick, somebody that don't have to celebrate birthdays, somebody just going to be there that they can count on. They don't have to work. They're bragging about it. And then, okay, when you step over the line, there is a penalty to pay for what you did. I understand that. But I guess what I want to say is that once they have done years of doing a particular job, getting 90 cents per a day for that slave work that they've done, when they get out of prison and they have paid their debt to society, they go back to the Marriott, they go back to the Nikes, to the different places that made them work for 90 cents a day. And they say, hey, listen, I can do this job. I did this job for 5 years. I'm free now and I'm here and I need a job. You know what they tell them? Because now they would have to pay them their benefits and pay them rightfully. They tell them, you have a police record. You have a prison record. We can't hire you. In our laws, we cannot hire a convicted felon. Now, isn't that criminal? They let them work there for nothing, slave labor, profited, got the stocks up and getting free labor. But when the young man come out and say, I paid my debt to society, I can't hire you now. You know why I can't hire you? Because I have to pay you. I think that is so criminal. And listen, I've exposed about 100 of those companies, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to keep it out there. I'm going to let everybody know these companies that are clothing us, we got our sons and daughters in there, slave labor, 90 cents a day in all kinds of conditions. They can't say I'm sick, I don't want to go in, anything like that. And they're counting on this, and it's criminal, and I don't want to hog all the time because we got 10 minutes. I did want to touch on the subject before we close the session, because we're going to have to do this next week at the same time. For those of you that are out there that are listening to this broadcast, if you'd like to support the Christian Fellowship, you can go right to Cash App and go to our CFC. Our CFC. We have another young man here in the studio. I'm going to speak with him. I hope I can get him on, because we've got about eight minutes left. We are a young man that just came in. God bless you, my brother. What else was I going to say before? Okay, I just wanted to say, everybody keep that in mind about that. I'm going to do another segment on the prisons that are working in our young men for slave for nothing. And I just want to invite everybody and thank everybody for being a part of this program. And you are definitely welcome to come in next week, the same time from 3 to 4. We'll be here. We'll be Zooming. We'll be bringing some of the issues. But the real issue that I want to talk about, and I want our brother JC Joseph to say something about it. I want everybody that's under the sound of my voice to look up what's happening to our Blacks in Ukraine. We're giving them money. We're sending. We got empathy for them. We say, oh God, they're being bombed. They're being killed. They're in bad weather, and you see them hungry. They need water. But see what they are doing to Black-skinned humans in their country, even under the problems that they're having. I want you to just look it up. I don't want to sway you. See what's happening to our Blacks. My brother, who are you? God bless you.
Hi,
Can you get on the mic right here?
sorry. Hi, how you doing?
I'm fine. God bless you. What's your name?
Fuquan Finley.
Okay, and who invited you? I'm sorry. I mean, you invited, but
I was supposed to be here for something else, but I got lost in between. I'm here. So anything I would say is just what you were saying, I kind of can relate to it.
Mhm.
And I kind of know I see some a lot of political issues. And it's mostly political, but you know, we're already set in. It's up to the mindsets to change in America.
Yeah. You're from where? What's your name? Tell us your name and what you do.
I am a recording artist, producer, and I own my own company.
Oh,
But I can say this is it's a lot. You know, I know I've seen a lot growing up, and I understand what this conversation is about. I know it's kind of too late to get into all the jits.
yeah, but I'm glad that you stopped by and
problem.
thank you. You're definitely welcome, because we need everybody that we can get to participate, to help in our communities, because we're losing our young men at an alarming rate. I've been to so many funerals that young men, I'm talking about 13, 14, 15 years old, laying up in a box. Okay, I'm talking about young men that are sitting in the hospital with bullets in their heads, and they're just the vegetables. I'm talking about some bad scenes, and I don't mean to down everybody, because I know God's got us in the palm of his hands. But I'm saying, if we can come together as group and say this is no longer going to happen in our communities, I believe you can stop it. Brother JC Joseph.
I know in the last minute or two of this hour, you'll be continuing in the next 4 o'clock,
Yes.
and we can maybe continue the conversation. But you mentioned many things about what Black fathers, what men are going through, what young boys are going through, what families are going through. And beyond a lot of the obvious things that you mentioned, there is a whole foundation of holistic consciousness of young people have development in their spiritual lives, their physical lives, and emotionally. And all of those things, come into play. And you can't sum it up in the next 90 seconds before you go into the next hour, but it's so important. And you talk about the inequities in the prison system, but what precedes somebody getting into prison is them getting into prison, being incarcerated. And the whole understanding that what is the foundation of the prison industrial complex, where there's a systematic, organized effort to make sure people are building prisons and then locking people up to fill up the prison. So that is the whole order of things that is now taking place. It's like you building a school for enough kids, and then you put them in school, which would be nice. But that's what's happening in the whole prison industrial system. So it's important that we start to understand how one system feeds into the other, how children who are without fathers feeds into being incarcerated, how then feeds into the prison industrial complex, who then feeds into the inequity once they're in the system. They're not going to pay young Black men $15 an hour once they lock them up. Okay, so you touched on a lot, and perhaps that can be touched on as we continue this morning here with CFC. I'm honored to be here, Brother Joseph from Spirit One. God bless you.
We're just glad to have you here. We have our brother Bernard We're going to be hearing a lot more from him. Explain the group that you're with, Brother Bernard, and you're the president of the.
Vice
Go ahead.
President.
You
Vice
explain.
President. Okay, so the Marcus Garvey Foundation.
Wait a minute. We can hear you.
The Marcus Garvey Foundation of Negro Black Men is an organization that Marcus Garvey founded in the early 1890 to probably the 1900s of the United States. Fundamentally, a Black man from Jamaica descent and a Caribbean descent.
You got 1 minute. We're going to be going off in a bit.
To sum it up, it is imperative that we help each other grow economically, economically, and socially. These are the most important foundations that we need to do and to grow. So at a later date, Brother Sanders, I will be able to express it in more clarity to give a little bit more expression of what we can do to help each other grow equally as people of color.
Amen. Amen. Praise God. Listen, we have our bishop. He's also, I don't know if he joined the Black Lab Men. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the Black Lab Men, Bishop? We got a half a second.
I haven't had that much, but I did sign up for membership.
Oh, praise God. Listen, I'm so glad, Bishop. I'm so glad, Bernard. I'm so glad, Brother J.C. Joseph. Listen, we are going to be doing another program at Wednesday from 3 to 4. And if you stay tuned right now, our Bishop is coming to you live. And he also has some good conversation for you. So just stay tuned here on WPAT 930 on your AM dial. And like I said, if you'd like to donate and help our cause and help us to stay here on the radio, you can donate to Cash App $ our CFC, like our OUR CFC. God bless you. We had such a good time, and I love doing this, and we definitely will be back. God bless you, Bishop.
Bless all of you. Thank you for inviting.
Peace
God
out.
bless you. God bless you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here.
Bless you.
God bless you, brother.
Bless you,
Brother Bernard. We're
you.
going to be doing some big things together. So
Oh,
I'm
you
just
already
waiting.
know. You already know.
Yes.
I'll call you back in a minute.